Hey guys, it's Sakar, and today we're going to be going over my Harmony MagNecro build for the Firesong chapter. I've tried to put together non-Harmony builds for the Firesong chapter for MagNecro, but honestly, they all feel so bad, and I really want to like it, but I can't find anything that I feel like is actually solid in open world Cyrodiil. I just don't like it at all. I wish it was better. Uh, and if I ever find something that I do feel like is worthy and useful, I'll put it out as a video, but until then, we're just going to do Harmony builds because that's really all that I think MagNecro is good for right now. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alright guys, let's get started. First things first, we're going to look at our character sheet. We're going to be a Breton on our MagNecro. I feel like this is the best way to go if you want to be able to sustain and go with back-to-back bombs. I feel like we have enough damage on this build, so Breton is a really nice way to get your sustain up by getting that reduced magic passive. And then also you're getting a little bit of magic on top of that as well, so it's a really good way to build into sustain. If you want to build more into like damage or something, I would recommend using something like Khajiit or something, but personally, I prefer Breton. I feel like there's enough damage on this already, so I would prefer to build a little bit into sustain to try and help me out a little bit. Our attributes are going to be a little weird on this class. We're going to have 15 points into magic, 11 points into health, and 38 points into stamina. I'll explain why we're using so much into stamina in a little bit when we get to our skills, but this is going to break down with a 22k max magic pool, 29.8k, so almost 30k max health pool, 19.8k max stam pools, so that is basically 20k right there, with some recovery at about 1195 and 918 for your magic and stamina. But honestly, it gets even higher when you have a few of your abilities out, and with your potion out as well, it gets even higher. So it's still a little low. So if you really feel like you're running out of resources on this, just heavy attack a lot more often and be a lot more passive with your abilities when you're not bombing. That way you're not completely running out of resources every 2 seconds. Our Mundus Stone is going to be the Apprentice. I really feel like our penetration is high enough as it is on this build, especially with our Balorgs procced. So if you see, we're on our front bar right now and our pen already is at 12.3k. I feel like that's extremely high. So I put the Apprentice Mundus on to try and kind of increase our healing as well, because I really feel like we have enough penetration as already. If I didn't feel like we had enough, I would be using the Lover Mundus, but I feel like it's fine, so we're good. Our food is going to be the Orzoga Smoked Bear Haunch, which I just have a bunch of leftovers. I'm going to start to use Jewels of Misrule soon because it's so much cheaper and it's just so much easier to use. I don't really feel as guilty using Jewels of Misrule as a food when it costs less than 1,000 a pop, when the Orzogas costs about anywhere between 20 to 25k. So it is way too expensive, but honestly it's really nice. So in future videos, when I finally run out of these, I will start to use Jewels of Misrule, I promise. And then, as always, we're going to be Vampire Stage 3 to increase our tankiness when we are at lower health. The Undeath passive gives us less damage taken when the lower health we have, so I like that. It keeps us from getting executed too hard. I like it. As far as our gear goes, it's going to be a very simple, straightforward setup for a bomb build. We're going to be using Balorgs as our monster set. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced one for our helmet. And for our shoulder, it's going to be a medium impen one. So we're going to be using prismatics as well on all of our enchantments on our gear, as you can see. But what Balorgs is going to help us with is the one piece is going to give us weapon and spell damage. And then the two piece is when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage equal to the amount of total ultimate consumed. So say you use a 500, like say you have 500 ultimate and you use your ultimate, you're going to gain 500 weapon and spell damage just from that alone. And on top of that, it's going to be your physical and spell pen is going to be increased by 23 times the amount as well. So say it's 500 times 23. Let me bring out my calculator on my phone real quick. 23 times 500. It's going to give you an extra 11,500 pen if you have an extra 500 ult. So between the base 12.3k, I'm doing math right now, guys, don't worry. Oh god, I messed up. 12,300 plus the 11,500. You're going to be getting your pen up to, if you use a 500 ult, 23,800. So that is absolutely massive. Now you guys see why I don't really need to use the Lover Mundus. I prefer the Apprentice on this one. And then our chest piece is going to be Curious of the Trainee. That way we can get that one piece trainee as a heavy piece and really get the most for your resistances and health. We're going to be using all light armor besides this, so this is the best way to go as far as getting your resistances up as high as possible, because we have one extra slot on this build. So a reinforced heavy chest piece is going to give you the most amount of max health and max armor as possible. Our first set on this, as our 2 5 pieces, is going to be Dark Convergence. So our waist piece is going to be Light Dark Convergence in Impen, and this is going to be the 2-piece Max Magic, 3-piece Offensive Penetration, 4-piece Weapon and Spell Damage, and then the 5-piece is, if you cast an AoE on the ground, you basically pull everybody together into that little area. And that's why we kind of use this, is to kind of bring everybody together and then blow them up. So I'll do the exact combo at the end of this build. That way you guys can see exactly how to break it down. So don't worry, just wait until I'm done explaining the skills, champion points, and gear, and then I will break down exactly how to use the abilities. And then again, our Light Dark Convergence gloves in Impen. Light Vicious Death shoes in Impen. This is going to be your front bar set, so you're going to be using this to get weapon and spell damage, max magic, crit chance. One of the 2 5 pieces is going to give you offensive penetration, and the other one is when you kill a player, they explode for 6,000 flame damage, and this isn't even buff, so it gets even higher. To all the other enemies in a 5-meter radius. So I absolutely love this so much. This has always been one of my favorite sets, because I really feel like this is one of the very few sets that is worked for small scale players or outnumbered players. And honestly, this is just the way to go when it comes to a bomber build like this. So Vicious Death, this is going to be your front bar set. And then finally, our legs are going to be Vicious Death in Impen as well. The reason why we're going Impen on most of our stuff and not Divines is because we can kind of brawl out a lot of fights so that we're not getting 2-shot. So this is a good way to get tankiness. We're still doing a lot of damage. So really, I don't recommend using Divines or anything. I definitely recommend just using Impen to kind of get your crit resist up as high as possible. Our jewelry is going to be Dark Convergence as our necklace, with a harmony trait on it, with a spell damage enchant. Our one mythic on this is going to be Markin in the harmony trait with a spell damage glyph. And before we even explain what Markin is, Vicious Death Ring, harmony, spell damage. The reason why we're using harmony is because it boosts the damage of our synergies. So we're going to be using Grave Robber to really do most of our damage on this build. So that is the best way to buff that damage as much as possible. And again, Markin is going to be giving you 200 weapon and spell damage and 2314 armor for having both 3 pieces of both Dark Convergence and Vicious Death active at all times on both bars. And our front bar set is going to be dual maces of Vicious Death, with a main hand being Nirnhoned and our offhand being Sharpened. I have both Oblivion enchants on this. You can change it to weapon and spell damage ones if you want, but I've been testing this around and I kind of like the way it works. It's just really easy damage to just get on somebody, and it's just kind of free. I actually really like it a lot. Then our back bar is going to be an Ice Staff of Dark Convergence in the defending trait. We're using Ice Staff so that way we can get our tankiness up as high as possible, because the Ice Staff change gives us resistances. And then on top of that, also going defending is really helping our resistances as much as possible. And then onto our skills. Let's look at our front bar ones first. So Avid Boneyard, that is what's going to be buffed by our Harmony set. So basically you put that on the ground and then you activate the synergy, and unbuffed it's going to do 11,400 frost damage, but trust me, it hits like an absolute truck if you hit somebody that's not blocking and is really unsuspecting. I absolutely love this ability for bombing. It has been a staple since Necro came out, and it's honestly just felt good the entire time. Degeneration, this is your source of major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Whirling Blades, this is going to be your execute. So after you hit your ultimate, your Blast Bones goes off and your Boneyard goes off, you're going to be hitting this 1 or 2 times to try and secure any kills that might just be at low health that you just need to finish off. Then Stalking Blast Bones, this is going to be what you're going to throw into your fight right before you bomb. That way you can get as much upfront damage as possible. I'll explain exactly how to do the exact combo at the end of explaining all of the skills and champion points. The damage that you get from this is really something extra, so I definitely recommend using this and getting used to throwing it in right before you bomb. Summoner's Armor, we do not want to use the other morph at all. Please only use this morph. The other morph gives free CC immunity, and you do not want to do that when you're trying to pull a lot of people in for the bomb. You want as many people to get pulled as possible. That way it helps out and you get as big of a bomb as possible. So Summoner's Armor, this is going to be your source of major resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6k for 20 seconds. Then also, while active, it reduces the cost of your Blast Bones and Skeletal Mage and Spirit Mender by 15%. So that's 2 of the abilities we use, because we use Blast Bones, and then on our back bar we use Spirit Mender, so it makes things cheaper for us as well. It helps our sustain. Then on our front bar, we're going to be using Dawnbreaker. We're not really using this ability at all. We're genuinely just not. But the reason why we have it is because of the Fighters Guild passive, where no matter what ability you have on your bar, as long as it's a Fighters Guild, it increases your weapon and spell damage. So that's why we have it on our front bar right here. Our back bar set is going to be skills are going to be Spirit Guardian right here. This is going to be the thing that's reduced by your Summoner's Armor. It's not really going to give you that great of a heal, but you're going to be getting 10% damage mitigation while you have this out. But, you know, it's also a little bit of a heal as well. So, and also it creates a corpse on death. So you're going to be able to get a lot of ult sustain from using this and then Summoner's Armor back to back. Race Against Time, this is going to be your source of major expedition and minor force. So it's going to increase your movement speed by 30% and your critical damage by 10%. And then on top of that, what's really most important is it's going to be your snare removal, and it's going to grant you immunity to snares for 4 seconds. So you want to hit this right before you're about to go in for a bomb to get your crit damage up as high as possible and to get that snare immunity up too. Then one of our main heals over time is going to be Resolving Vigor, because you basically put that on every build nowadays since it's so easily broken. It's a 5-second heal that heals you for a lot, and on top of that, you get minor resolve, so it's going to increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds, so it's just going to make you as tanky as possible, and I really enjoy it. Resistance Flesh, this is going to be your burst heal. You're only want to really use this if you're really starting to lose a lot of health. I don't recommend spamming this, it's pretty expensive. But honestly, it is really helpful in those sticky situations where you're losing a lot of health and you really need to just get away from a certain situation. Having your Resolving Vigor and your Spirit Guardian up helps by reducing your damage taken and helping you get a little heal over time, but this is going to be your best way to get out of a situation. And then Necrotic Potency, this is going to be also a little bit of a heal as well, but it's not too big of a heal. The reason why we're using this is because every corpse that we consume, it's going to give us 6 ultimate, so that is absolutely huge for ult sustain and being able to go back and back to back with bombs as fast as possible. And then also, when it's on your back bar, your damage taken is reduced by 3%, and honestly, I'll take any little bit of damage taken reduced. And then finally, on our back bar, our ultimate is going to be Pestilent Colossus. The reason why we're using this morph and not the other one is because this one actually does a little bit more upfront damage. The other morph, the only difference is it does less damage, and then it CCs you at the end, which we don't need that CC at the end. So obviously we're going to go and we're going to get as much damage as humanly possible. And then on top of that, it's also going to deal major vuln to all your enemies, so it's going to increase our damage taken by 10%. So if they get hit by this, and then they get hit by that graveyard, it is a lot of damage. And finally, let's look at our champion points. Our blue slottables are going to be Focus Mending to increase our healing. Biting Aura to help our AoE damage. Master at Arms to help with our direct damage. Ironclad to help to reduce our damage taken by direct damage. Then our red slottables, not really going to explain anymore. Survival Instincts, Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. And the only green ones that we really care about are Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, and it's not a slottable, but as always, Breakfall is extremely important. Alright, so let's check out the combo that we have on this build. So we're going to first obviously have our armor up. We're going to have our Spearmender up as much as possible. Keep your Resolving Vigor rolling when you can. Keep your Race Against Time up. So we are going to use our Race Against Time. We're going to use our Structured Entropy right here, our Degeneration. And then we're going to throw our Blast Bones in. Then after our Blast Bones, we're going to switch directly to our back bar, because that's where our ultimate and our Dark Convergence is. Then after we use our ultimate, we're going to switch back to our front bar, use our Graveyard, and then we're going to start spinning basically after activating that synergy. So let us buff up. So we hit our Degeneration, Blast Bones, back bar, ultimate, front bar, Grave Robber, start spinning. And honestly, that is so much damage right there that even though these are ads, they still took a lot of damage right there. And I really like the amount of damage taken from this. So guys, that's the combo right there. Let's do it one more time real quick just to show you guys and just to show it in a fast motion. Just to make sure that, you know, we all got it. Because I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly how to do it. So guys, have all of our buffs up as much as possible. Degeneration, Blast Bones, Ultimate, Grave Robber, Spin. And honestly, that is so much damage right there, guys, that it is definitely worth running all that. I know that you lose a lot of stamina when you're spinning, but guys, only spin like once or twice to try and secure the kill, maybe even 3 times, but really more than that is kind of unnecessary, and you might just lose all your stamina that way and you just get caught out. So kind of be mindful of that. Don't really get too caught out, but if you see a chance to secure a kill, honestly, go for it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I highly appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you do enjoy the video, please like the video. It helps me out so much. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It is so free to do so. And I'm trying to challenge the channel, and it is about to be December 1st. So if we can get to 3,500 subs by the end of the year, so we have 1 month to do this, which is, it's just about 300 subs away. I will do a 5 mil gold giveaway on PCNA, so I would appreciate any single extra sub that I get. It would really help me out so much. So if you guys want to help me out with that, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's free. It's just 1 click. Helps me out so much. So guys, that's it. If you want to see this build live in action, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Shakar, where I stream 5 days a week. Come check it out. Say what's up. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.